I'm Maria Chaleos from the KSL Greenhouse, and today we're going to have a little bit of fun with pumpkins. As you can tell, I love pumpkins, and pumpkins truly are the rage this year. I've been driving through the neighborhoods and you see piles and piles of pumpkins on people's porches. Okay, the reason being is just the large variety of pumpkins. Different types, different shapes, different sizes, and they're also interesting. Also, another reason is just the low cost of pumpkins this year. But the other thing that's really popular this year are succulents. So we have got a variety of succulents here. Some of them I ordered online. Some of them I found at a big box store that they had reduced for just $1 a piece. To me, it was just like, wow, that is a find, because usually these little ones that you buy online, the cheapest you can buy them for is $2 a piece, and that is if you buy 20 of them. Normally a succulent, probably this size, would cost you about $3.49, $4. And so to find them for a reduced price is really awesome. Now, if you have succulents in your yard, the hens and chicks, all of those types of things, these are the hens and chicks if you don't know what they are, you can pull them from your own yard, use your own succulents, and next year, after I plant a variety of these, I'll have more succulents to use as well. But today we're going to do succulent pumpkin centerpieces. Now, the reason we're doing them is, number one, they're fun. Number two, they are so beautiful to put in your kitchen for your Halloween parties or your Thanksgiving parties. And yes, this will last all the way to Thanksgiving and actually past Thanksgiving. The one that I made last year actually made it into the spring, and then I just took the succulents out and put them in another pot. They'll last a very long time. The first thing you need is a pumpkin. So pick a pumpkin, any size. You can do small pumpkins, you can do large pumpkins. I've picked this big princess pumpkin for us today. I like the size. I think it's a good size for a centerpiece on my countertop when I'm serving my Halloween food or my Thanksgiving food, so I just kind of like the size. So the first thing you need is a pumpkin, and you need to make sure it's clean, because after you're done with the centerpiece, it'll be pretty tough to wash it. The next thing you need is this spray glue, this multi-purpose spray adhesive. And you're going to use that for your moss. One thing you want to remember with the spray glue, it gets on your fingers, and unless you want moss stuck to your fingers, probably want to use some sort of glove. You can use any kind of moss you want for the top. This is more of a brownish moss. For this particular pumpkin, I think I'm going to want something a little more green. You will find a ton of different moss in the store, online, different colors, and you can use just any kind of moss. Don't use the moss that's like not real moss, it's more like raffia, it's kind of paper-like, because your succulents won't do well in that. But any kind of moss, any kind of color is great. So this is the moss I'm going to choose, is this darker green. Then I'm going to take my spray glue, and I'm going to spray it where I want the moss. So here, a good amount. Make sure that it stays where I want it, right there in the center of that pumpkin. Then I'm going to take my moss, and again, try to do this left-handed with a glove. I'm going to set that in there like that. And this doesn't have to be perfect. In fact, it needs to look more natural, so a little bit unperfect is actually probably more appealing. Put some in where you missed. You want some more. So there you go. And then if you find later you need a little more glue, you can actually add a little more glue as well. So there's our moss. Then you have to decide exactly where you're going to put it. If you're going to put it in the middle of a table, you might want something a little taller right in the middle. If it's going to sit on the edge of a counter, like I'm thinking, I'm going to put my focal point closer to the top up here. So now we have all of these succulents, and these again have been purchased, but if you were to pull them from your yard, it would be the same thing. You're going to save this little root part, and believe it or not, it doesn't hurt the succulent at all to put the glue right onto there. And then you're going to glue it right where you think you want that focal point. And it's actually going to kind of take root in this moss. Then you decide, what else is going to look good? The great thing about this is there's really no wrong way to do it. It's really about your imagination, your creativity, how you would like it to look. Make it your own. You want to take most of the dirt off of this. You could even wash the dirt off of these if you'd like. And again, really, the important part is to put the glue right on the stem right here. Make it work. Place it right in here, or maybe I want to make it here. I think my glue may have dried. May have to put just a little more glue on that. If I hadn't done this last year, I wouldn't have believed that they would be fine with this amount of glue on them. But they are fine, they do really well. Again, back here. The other thing that I really love about this project is you can go out into your yard and pick all sorts of different things that you love to put into your centerpiece. So for example, say you have a bunch of pine cones that you want to use. You could incorporate them into your centerpiece. Or walnuts. We have a lot of walnuts this time of year. You could incorporate them into your centerpiece. I've gone and taken some clippings. Now you're going to say, oh hey, but is that ivy going to make it, several months like you said the centerpiece is? No, it's not going to make it several months. It'll become more dried, and it actually looked good for like probably 8 weeks, and then I took out the ivy and put something else in. But it's fun to be able to use stuff from your yard and just be as creative as you'd like to be. So, and I kind of like the way this trails. And if I had something more trailing, then I might use it. If I had some succulents that were more trailing, I would probably use those. But since I don't, today this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to kind of put it down in there so it trails a bit. Give it that extra dynamic. I've also picked some other items from my yard, and again, these probably won't make it more than 8 weeks. But again, you can take them out and put something else in, and I'm going to just put those in between as we go along. So what you're going to do is fill the whole pumpkin with however many succulents you'd like. Now I want you to know it's a lot cheaper, and it only takes you a few minutes to do this project. I saw a pumpkin a little bit larger than this at a craft show this week. It was $75. I can tell you this won't cost you $75 to make. You can kind of figure it out for yourself. When you take a look at the moss, it's about $13 for this size bag, maybe $6, $7 for this size bag. The cost of your pumpkin, which probably for this size, probably about $6. And then depending on what kind of deal you reach on your succulents. So you're really looking at making the same project for under $25, $20, right? That you would be able to buy for $75. So to me, if you love working with plants, this is a great way to do it, and you have a lot of options. So again, we're taking these, I've taken these out of the little pots, and I'm just going to continue to fill in until I'm happy with the way it looks. Again, trying to decide who's going to see it and from what direction. Put this little guy in here. And again, you can decide the cost yourself depending on how many succulents you want to put into your project. It's already looking pretty nice at this point, so I may not want to put very many more in there. Now I want to find something just to fill in that's not too big, maybe a little different color. Let's see how these guys do. I have to empty the dirt off of this. I love it when I can get 2 separate plants from one. Definite bonus. Again, putting a little bit of glue on there and sticking it where I think I need to fill in just a little bit. Trying not to get the hot glue on the leaves themselves. Don't want want to see that. So I'm going to tuck it in just a little bit more. Then I want something right here. I'm going to pick this little size, this little guy. Again, emptying off the dirt until I have a pretty little succulent. Lifting up the leaf of this one just a little bit so as not to hurt it. You can rearrange after too. So once you've finished and you've been able to like really take a look at what your project looks like, you think, oh, I just want to add a few more touches to it. So simple to do. Just you can keep going. I do think that at some point though, more is not better. So at some point you're going to go, okay, enough is enough. You really want people to be able to see the individual succulents. And I think if you put too many in there, then it distracts and doesn't really add to your project. So you really have to kind of play with it a little bit and see what you might like to add. I'm not sure I like these guys. They do add a little bit of color and different texture. What does that one look like there? I might just stick him in there as well. But again, you don't want it to take away from everything else in your project. You want it to add and not subtract. Have fun with it. Then once you're done with this, you've added everything that you want to add. You need to have a sprayer and you need to spray it down really well. Getting the moss wet. Now, succulents don't need a lot of water, and the biggest thing that kills them is too much water. So what you're going to do from here on out is wherever you have this in your house, if you have it on a nice table, you're going to want to remove it from the table to water it. But it only needs water every 7 to 10 days. And I water my plants all the same day of the week. So Saturday morning I water my plants. So on Saturday I would just give it just a quick spray. And that's all it would need. And again, this beautiful centerpiece will last for months. And then when you're tired of it, say fall's over, you're done, we're at Christmas time, you can actually take these little succulents and put them in some sort of other little container and make another centerpiece, an all new centerpiece. They'll live that long. And I had mine well into July. I made it in October and I had it well into July, and the only reason I got rid of it is I just kind of got tired of it and wanted something new. So just a great fun thing to try for fall. We have other great ideas on the KSL Greenhouse page, on the Greenhouse Facebook page, and join us every morning, Saturday mornings, 8 to 11 at KSL News Radio. You can also catch us at the KSL News Radio app on podcast at any time.